Bars is back. Sam Ant. Oh God. What's up with you? Hip Hop Uncensored is the vibe, so subscribe. Hip Hop Uncensored is the vibe, so subscribe. Oh God, driving Sam Ant riding passenger side, and you heard it out the mouth of the greatest rapper alive.
Interested in promoting your brand, business, or talent on Hip Hop News Uncensored? Hit me up right now at advertise@hiphopun.com. That's advertise@hiphopun.com. Hit me ASAP. Very affordable rates. Now to our regularly scheduled program. Let's get it.
Some great things, man. So introduce yourself. Let the people know who Aaron is.
Hey, thank you for having me again. My name is Aaron Carrington. Born in Bridgeton, New Jersey. Raised in Atlantic City. 38 years old. 8 children. Very passionate about fathering and being a husband. I'm a certified alcohol and drug counselor with the state of New Jersey. I'm a mental health advocate, substance abuse advocate also. A lot of the problems in our communities are due to mental health and substance abuse addictions. It's tearing families apart and tearing lives apart in general. So coach football, do a little personal training, and as you all know, I'm throwing my hat in the ring for some local city politics.
Yeah, let's go to the beginning, man, and let's talk about your upbringing. Now, you said you were born in Bridgeton. Did you grow up in Bridgeton? Or did you grow up in Atlantic City?
I was born in Bridgeton. My father's from Bridgeton. My mother's from Camden.
Okay.
I was born in Bridgeton in 1982. My grandmother has a 42-acre farm in Carrington, New Jersey, which is right outside of Bridgeton.
Dope.
It's actually part of Bridgeton.
Mm-hmm.
I came to Atlantic City when I was 3 years old with my mother. We lived right across from the Virginia Avenue courts. Lived there for a while. Then I lived in a building called the Highgate, which is right next to another project. It was actually between a couple projects, background and 6 bedrooms and VAC back in the day. So I just grew up in some tough neighborhoods, but I always tried to be positive and avoid some of the pitfalls in Atlantic City.
Yeah, so you say you was born in 82. I was born in 83, so I definitely know about the football scene. I played for the Crusaders. You played for the Dolphins?
Yeah, I played 2 years for the Dolphins, and then I played for Atlantic City High School for 3 years.
It was wrecking shop back then. All y'all did was win championships. Talk about
it.
Nah. I think you were probably I was a little younger. But talk about that, man. Playing for the Dolphins and playing for the youth football, and how that kind of got you motivated to do what you're doing today.
Well, I was in Virginia summer '93, and a friend of my mother's told my mother, like, you should have him play football. He's pretty athletic. So when I came back from Virginia, I tried out for the Atlantic City Dolphins. I came out late. So I played when I was 11 years old. We won a championship. I was on second string. Everybody kind of had their positions lined up, even though I believe I was the second fastest on the team. And then I took a year off because I only played because my mom told me to the first year. And then I came back when I was 13. I was in love with the game. Played cornerback and I played safety. We didn't have that good of a season that year because our coach wound up getting sick and passing away. And we didn't have any quarterback at all. But Dolphins taught us toughness. The coaches were like father figures to us. They have to, a lot of times in some of these impoverished communities, the coaches aren't just coaches. They're fathers, they're uncles, they're big brothers, things of that nature. But it taught us toughness and some discipline. And then after 8th grade, I wound up playing for Atlantic City High School. Go Vikings.
So how did school and football and everything like that help prepare you to overcome obstacles in life, like the brotherhood, the team? You know what I mean? How did that prepare you, for the streets and getting to where you're at now?
All right, so sports in general saved my life. Coming up in Atlantic City, just me and my mother. Atlantic City's kind of tough. I remember in kindergarten, I got in a fight and did my thing. But his big brother and his cousin was waiting for me later on. So I'm in Atlantic City by myself, and like it seems like everybody in Atlantic City is related. So I always stood my ground. I never had nobody to run to. It made me tough. It made me strong. Never had nobody to run to, and I had to survive. Atlantic City was wild back then.
Yeah,
very like you couldn't just go anywhere, and I would go there anyway. I walked through certain neighborhoods and stuff, and people took to me. it's just a tough place to grow up. It's a lot of obstacles in Atlantic City. When I was 14 years old, out of nowhere, I wound up anxiety started in my life. I felt like I was dying, and the worst part about anxiety is that you're afraid constantly that it's gonna come back. So you just sit there and you just wait for the next one, wait for the next one. So I was like stuck in the house a lot the summer '96. But it was a basketball coach in Pleasant, in Atlantic City, named Coach Canidate. He realized I was athletic. I didn't play football that year because I missed the deadline. I actually got left back in 8th grade due to missing school and things of that nature. I used to skip school sometimes due to anxiety. So I want to go to school, but I didn't tell anybody. I kept it to myself. So my second year, I couldn't play football, but a basketball coach, as I mentioned, he took me under his wing and he said, if you want to play basketball for my team, every time I see you, you better have a basketball in your hand. So I started going to Atlantic City PAL, and I used to go to PAL every day, and I got better and better and better and better every day. And so basketball actually brought some more self-esteem to me. The anxiety went away because with anxiety, life kind of becomes miserable for you. So when you I used to wake up, right? And this is why I advocate for mental health. I used to wake up and be disappointed. I didn't want to like die per se, I guess, but I used to wake up and be disappointed. So basketball and Coach Canidate, shout out to him again. It kind of took me out of the dark place that I was in. I started playing ball, and I was nice. I was playing for my Central Junior High. I played for a local team. And I played for AC PAL. And we won a championship that year. People getting to know me. People, hey, that's Aaron. He's nice. I'm meeting people in other cities. And they're showing me love too. I didn't care too much about, I used to get very good grades when I was younger. But as I got older, I really didn't care about school too much. I had a feeling inside of me that made me very angry. Right. And me and my father are really close, and I love my father to death. But at that time, he wasn't around, and I felt like he didn't love me, and I felt less than. I was angry. I was angry. And playing sports gave me like a sense of self-worth, and I was like, man, I'm going to make it. I'm going to show him and anybody else that like doubts me. So playing ball, we win the championship. I'm not hanging with a lot of the same guys I was hanging with previously. Now I'm hanging with other guys that play sports. And my mom liked it that too, because a lot of my friends that I went to school with that wasn't playing sports, they was in the streets. They ain't had no curfews. As I got older, I found out their moms was getting high, dads wasn't there, so they was raising themselves. My mother was there. I'm the only one with a curfew. So I take that beating, you know what I mean? Because I didn't want to be the only one that had to go in the house. So when I started hanging with other people who had moms that was giving them curfews and we all playing ball and all our mothers knew each other, things got a lot better for me in the house too. Started doing my work again and things of that nature. But I only did my schoolwork to be eligible, to be totally honest. So sports saved my life. So when I was in 8th grade, I told myself, you're going to play varsity as a freshman football-wise. You're going to play varsity. So I used to get up and run on the beach every morning. And then I would go to Atlantic City High School in the summertime and work out with the varsity coaches. And when the season started, I was on varsity. And then the quarterback from varsity got hurt, and he went to like a different offense. And I played wide receiver. They went to Wishbone. So I dropped down to freshman and played quarterback, and I had 30 touchdowns. We went undefeated. It was crazy.
You talked about anxiety a lot. And a lot of us has dealt with that, especially as young brothers, young black men, and now older fathers. Sitting here as black men, and something we don't often talk about is anxiety and what we're going through. And we weren't always kind of encouraged. And from our fathers, our grandpas, always to kind of stay tough, and never kind of experience that or express that. How important is that now, as we sit here, all three of us as fathers, to sons in particular, to encourage them to kind of express themselves a little more, let us know how they feeling, because it's a lot more needed than what we thought it was as children.
It's extremely important, man. We grew up in that ain't nothing wrong with him. He just need his butt whooped, era. So I felt crazy. I'm looking around. I'm scared for no reason. I'm looking around like, dang, I feel like I'm about to die. Everybody else in here all calm. So I felt crazy and I just kept it to myself. And like I said, I used to wake up disappointed, and it would come and go. It might last for 3 months where like every day I'm just miserable, and then it'll go away for a year, and then it'll come back and things of that nature. So I've been dealing with it on and off. Even now, like if I think it may be a physiological response where my body just or biological response, it just happens. And some people's body let off adrenaline like uncontrollably. So sometimes when my body does that, I just have to breathe and relax. And I told myself years ago, you're not crazy. And I'm a fighter. Like I try not to let things intimidate me. I believe in a higher power. And like when I see myself if I saw myself getting too down and out about my mental health, anxiety, or I have a regular heartbeat and it be skipping and all that stuff, I just tell myself, man, no matter, like, you're tough. Don't let nothing bother you. So just breathe through it and accept the fact that you're having an anxiety attack, because people try to run from anxiety attacks. You have to embrace it. It's happening. Your body is built to handle it. Just relax and breathe and it'll go away. So I've done stuff like that. And now that I'm an alcohol and drug counselor, I do some mental health work also. I do a lot of mental health work. Although I'm not a therapist, I'm an alcohol and drug counselor. But it's very, very important. And a lot of times, like, we feel like we don't have anybody to talk to.
Right.
So we got to play tough and put the image on. And folks will commit suicide if they feel like nobody cares about them. And I'll get into that later into my story about some experiences I've had with suicidal ideations.
Yeah, we definitely want to get into that. I want to talk about fatherhood for you, man, and how that has changed your life, being a father of, I don't know how many kids you have, but 8. Okay, yeah. So talk about fatherhood, man. How that changed your life.
Man, like I said, and me and my father are really close now. I love my father to death. He wasn't in my life. I think he left when I was 2. I ain't seen him till I was 11. And I remember when he came back, I asked him, I said, "Where was you at?" He said, "I don't want to talk about it. I just want to move forward." And he still was disappointing me. Disappointed me with his absence initially. Then he started disappointing me with his presence because he treated me like an option. He had a new wife. He had a different family. So I had a child on the way at 16 years old. I wanted something to love, and I wanted to have a child so I could love that child more than my dad loved me. Her parents made her get an abortion. I was in 10th grade, I believe. Yeah, 10th grade. Her family made her get an abortion, and she moved. And that devastated me. I didn't come out of my room for a month. I had to transfer schools. I was devastated. All of that because I was missing something. I had a hole in my soul the size and shape of my father that nobody could fix, and I thought a baby could fix that. I remember my aunt telling me, "Once you have a baby, it's all about the child. It's not about you anymore." And I ain't care. I wanted a baby. I wanted to be a good dad. And I was 16. I had my first child. I was 17.
Right.
Being a father after serving my higher power is the most, that and a husband also, because we gotta hold our sisters down. Being a father is the most important thing to me. I make sure that I'm there physically,
Right.
and I don't want to just be there physically. I want to be there emotionally, and I have to lay the blueprint for my sons and my daughters. I need to show my daughters what type of man that they should look for, and give my sons a blueprint for what type of man they should be. You guys got sons and probably cousins and stuff. Like my sons, they do everything that I do. If I walk around with no shirt on, they do it. If I eat out a bowl this big and I fill it up with cereal, they doing it too. So it's awesome. And if you see me, I'm usually by myself or I'm with my children.
Yeah.
Extremely important to me. I hope I answered that.
Oh yeah. Appreciate it.
Indeed. So you're doing some pretty incredible things out here in the community. We'll get into a lot of those things throughout the interview. What motivated you into getting into activism, serving the people, serving our people, and finding that as a role that you want to take on in life? What happened throughout your life to make you get into what you're doing now?
Well, sports gave me the feeling of team, and there's no I in team. So sometimes you have to pick up the work or the slack of a teammate, and you just got to handle it. And then sometimes, you got to play a different role. So that taught me a lot about teamwork. And I remember when I was in high school, a lot of the younger kids that played in the youth organizations, they would they used to look up to me, you know, and I used to make sure that, you know, I talked to them and made them feel good. I would tell them how the high school would be, things of that nature. So football and sports got me caring about other people. I'm an only child, and on my mom's side, and being an only child, I'm very loyal. If I always say, like, I don't really have a lot of friends. I have brothers. Once you're my friend or brother or whatever, like we, you know, we like this. We brothers. I get the shirt off my back. Then, being in college, I had to volunteer at a school because I got my associate's degree in education. I always had a passion for helping the youth. All my little cousins vouch for this. All my little cousins look at me as their brother. I'm all my cousins' favorite cousin, except the real young ones because I was like grown, you know, by the time they were coming up. But all the ones like 15 years, you know, like under me, or whatever and up, they love me. They love me to death, and that's what made me. I've always had a heart for other people. Now, as far as the activism and stuff, if I may, this may take a while. I'm in college in 2004. Okay, 2003. My mother calls me and says that I'm losing my house. And she tells me like the day before that she's losing the house. I'm in college. So I'm like, why you didn't say anything earlier? And she didn't want to like, she was just going through the emotions of it. She didn't handle it properly and it just fell through. So I left school and I came back. I went to college in Scranton, Pennsylvania. And I came back to Atlantic City. I tried to find a job, couldn't find a job. I'm going from couch to couch. She's sleeping in a motel that's like right next to her job though. So, that lasted for a couple months. She finally finds a place in Brigantine, New Jersey, but we're still struggling. So I signed back up for school. I only got 9 more credits, and I get my associate's degree from Lackawanna, and then I could go to a 4-year university and finish my football career. So I signed back up for school. I made it up to school a couple weeks, but I really didn't have the money. I just had to catch the bus from Atlantic City to Scranton. Then I stayed with this family up there. And I would give them like $50 a week to stay up there. I would go Monday night and come back to Atlantic City Friday morning. And then just as a man, like I just didn't have any money. Had a girlfriend at the time. I didn't feel like a man. She worked and I didn't. I had all this anger and frustration and why me? And I'm trying to do the right thing. And didn't have a lot of support. So one day, I'm in the middle of the semester and I get an academic warning stating if I miss one more week that they're gonna put me out of school. Just so happens I catch a cab driver talking to me. Hey, buddy, you think you could get me something? So asked me for some weed. I said, nah. So then I catch the same cab back either the next day or the same day. Same guy. He's like, listen, do you think you could just hold on to a package for me? And I'm gonna come get it later. Me and my cousin's going to a party. I don't want my family to know that I got drugs, so I'm gonna come buy it from you later. Right. Sounds stupid now, but at the time, I never was in that game. So at the time, I held the bag for him. So I give you $100. Me and my cousin gonna come back later. We're gonna ask you for a certain amount. Give it to us, and I'll come back later and I'll give you keep 100 and I'll take the rest. I might have got like $150 off of it, I think. I gave him the 50 and I kept the 100 later on. So he said, so when the cousin came with him, he said, can I keep your number? So I said, all right. So foolishly, I did that about 3 more times, I believe. The cousin will call me and say, hey, buddy, you think you could get A, B, C, and D? Or, get this? I would call the cab driver. I'd be like, yo, your cousin called me again. I need you to, give me something, so I give it to him. So when I come home from college, he'd be like, all right, I'll pick it up from him, and I would take it to the cousin. I'll make a couple dollars, and then I'll go to school. That I would get me through the week. Yeah. So I did that foolishly. So I'm thinking, that because I graduated and I did it 3 times, and I'm thinking it's over. Yeah. It's 3 days after I graduated, I'm at a convenience store, and my man called me like, man, I need you to get me. I'm like, man, I don't do that no more. You know what I mean? Because I had to play the drug dealer thing, the drug dealer role for the cousin. But I'm like, I don't do that no more. Right. I wasn't even going to take no shortcuts at all. Right. So he's like, all Okay. He said, well, I'm around your way though. I just want to see what's up with you. How's college? You graduated and stuff? I said, yeah, I graduated. So I'm at Cedar Market in Pleasantville, and next thing I know, I got the music blasting. Next thing I know, I got like shotguns in my face. Pulled me out the car. I don't know what's going on because I didn't know nothing about no indictments. I thought once you did something, you got away. You got away. Yeah. So I didn't know. I still didn't know. They in the cop car. I'm in the cop car. I'm looking in I remember looking in the rearview mirror in the cop car. Like, what did you do? Like, why you? Like, I remember looking at myself in the mirror. Like, what's going on? And I'm asking the cop, and he's not telling me. So they take me to the police station. They start fingerprinting me. So I'm kind of talking slick. I'm like, y'all got the wrong person. Y'all need to let me go. And one of my fingers is crooked from football, so they having a hard time fingerprinting me. So I'm like, that's a sign. I ain't supposed to be in here, right?
Right.
So as I'm saying that, the door in the police station has a window in it, and I see the guy I sold to the cousin. I'm like, oh man, these guys is cops.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I thought both of them was cops, but the one was an informant, the other one was a cop. And I don't know if he knew that the informant was giving me the drugs.
Right.
I don't think they know. I don't think they know that. But that's what happened. Wow. So fast forward the story. I'm going to court, and I'm trying to talk to my public defender. I'm thinking like this got to be illegal. Like this guy to give me drugs to give to somebody else, and then I go to jail for it. So he's not talking to me. He's not. He won't have a conversation with me. He's giving me like 2 minutes, and the whole conversation is you need to cop out because if you don't, it's going to go up. So I'm frustrated. Now, mind you, here come the anxiety and the depression and stuff. And when you get in that space, they call it in counseling. They call it the efforts, where you don't give a F. Right. So I'm there. I don't got no more football. I got a degree in education, an associate's degree in education that I can't use. They talking prison time and everything, and I'm like, man, I went all these years without getting in trouble, and like I'm a good kid. Like, why me? And then my lawyer or public defender's not talking to me. So I was in a bad space. So they told me to apply for special probation. It's called drug court now, but back then it was called special probation, where you got to cop out, which I copped out to a 5 year with a 15-month parole ineligibility period. So, but when you go for sentencing, it's like 50-50. You're either going to go to treatment when you come in for sentencing, or you're going to go to prison. Yeah. So I got all these letters from my high school coaches and teachers and people in the fire department. Everybody in the community that knew that I was a good kid, they wrote letters for me. My public defender writes me. He calls me. He says, "Listen, they're going to give you a program. Your letters worked. Just come back to court. Come into court tomorrow, and then." We're gonna. You got to come back the next month. Come in tomorrow, check in. You got a month to find a treatment program, and then once you find a treatment program, you'll go there when you come in for sentencing again. So I did that. Went in, checked in, found a program. Came back in April. I come back in April. They tell me I'm going to prison. So mind you, if I knew I was going to jail, which I thought I was going before, I would have you wear 5 pairs of socks, underwear, t-shirts and everything. And mentally, I was prepared to go in. I would have been mentally prepared to go in. But now you got me thinking I'm going to treatment for like 3 months and I'll be out in time for the football season and I'll just be on probation. I'm hot. So they try to lock me up that day. I'm like, listen, I'm not prepared to come in and I don't know what happened. Y'all told me I was getting probation. And like they wouldn't answer me. Yeah. They wasn't telling me why it looked like the prosecutor changed their mind and my public defender wasn't telling me anything. So now I got the efforts. And to answer your question, why I really want to help people, they didn't lock me up that day. They gave me 30 days. They gave me an extension to come back 30 days later because I drove myself out there. I was not prepared to go in at all. So kindly, and now I know why the judge did this or whoever granted the extension. They gave me 30-day extension, and then I came back the next month and I went in and served my time. But when that happened to me that day, in April of 2004, I went on the jetties 3 days in a row. I wanted to kill myself so bad, but I didn't want to go to hell. That's the only reason why I didn't do it. I used to go up on the jetties, the water be splashing, and I'm like, maybe if I kill myself, somebody would care about me. Because now I'm thinking my dad wasn't there for me. I got public defender.
Yeah.
It's just been me and my mom my whole life. And she's had the whole, a lot on her shoulders. So she was there. I love my mom to death, and we talk.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes when our mothers are working and trying to provide and they got everything on them, emotionally, they don't give us what we want.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I'm saying? And they don't do it on purpose, but it just happens. So 3 days in a row, I went up on them jetties, and I was like, maybe somebody cared then. And my main reason for running, I don't want no child to feel, I want nobody to feel like that. And if anybody knows me, I'll stop and talk to anybody, and I'll help anybody. That feeling, what if I would have jumped in? Mm-hmm. And I kept thinking, I'm my mom's only child, and I don't want to go to hell. That's the only stuff I was thinking about. But like during the day, I was like, man, so what? So what? And I would go back up there. Went there 3 days in a row. And then finally I was like, man, you just got to man up, and, you just got to it's just not fair, but it is what it is. When you get out, maybe you'll play football again. That's what I was thinking. So
right.
I went in the next month, May 2005, did my time. I was like Hurricane Carter, man. I wasn't going to wreck. I wasn't like letting nobody play with me like that. They called wreck out. I'm staying in intentionally just to build up that mental strength. I didn't want to miss home. I was telling people don't visit me. And then I turned myself in Friday. I got 2 visits Saturday, 2 visits. I'm like, I told y'all don't visit me. I don't want no visits. I just wanted to get through it.
Right.
So I got through it. I helped guys learn how to read and write while I was in there. I had one brother ask me, he said, man, what are you doing in here? He said, man, you're so smart. Mm-hmm. He said, no disrespect, but like, what you doing in here? I'm like, I told him my story. He was like, man, that's messed up. This brother couldn't read or write anything. The first 10 words I gave him was words that would be on a job application. He didn't know what name and date was. Damn. And I said, bro, what you gonna do when you get out, man? He was like, I'm gonna try. But if I can't get a job, I'm gonna do what I do. And a lot of our brothers are masking something. That hurt him, that he couldn't read and write. Mm-hmm. But you gotta play the cool part to survive in our communities. Right. So he'd rather just sell drugs and act like he enjoying it and everything because he's hurting inside. He's trying to mask something that's missing. So anyway, got out. I did 15 months. And I was locked up in Tully House in Newark. Now check this out. My lawyer told me to lie and say that I used drugs, and that's why I sold drugs. And I didn't. I don't drink, don't smoke, none of that. That's why I was supposed to get the special probation, and they was going to send me to treatment.
Yeah.
But they
drug court. Yeah.
Well, they didn't give me the treatment. They sent me to prison. So now I'm in a halfway house, and I'm supposed to I want to go to like one of the work halfway houses. I want to work, get a furlough, see my wife and all that stuff. They sent me to treatment. So I'm in Bull Robinson, the halfway house, the assessment center right before you go to halfway. I'm arguing with the guy. I'm like, I don't use no drugs. He said, it says it right here you do. That you use drugs, and that's why you so. I said, my lawyer told me to say that. He was like, he don't care about that. This was on paper. They sent me to treatment. Without a drug and alcohol problem. So I go to Tully House. Now, mind you, I got the efforts again. I'm like, man, I'm about to go back to prison. I ain't about to do no treatment. Right. I don't have no drug and alcohol problem. So it took him 3 weeks to send us to Tully House because I guess it was full. I get to Tully House. Tully House saved my life. I get there, and I got an attitude, and I'm like, man, people ain't playing around. I want to go back to prison. It's more serious, and I don't got to do no treatment. I go in there, work out, and brush my hair all week. You know what I mean? So I remember we had a class. We had a didactic class where it was about irrational thinking patterns. Okay. So I remember the first day I'm in the gym. It's like 300 of us, and I got my arms folded. I'm like, man, I'm gonna go back to prison. I don't want to be here. So the first thing we covered was instant gratification. You want what you want when you want it. You make poor decisions. You're impulsive. This and that. I'm like, yo, that sounds just like me. But it can't be me. I'm not an addict. Yeah. They ain't talking about me. Right? So then the next group we had was on being impulsive, doing things without thinking and all that type of stuff. And I'm sitting there like, that sounds just like me. And a lot of people I know. So I raised my hand to the counselor. I said, the last 2 groups that you did, it sounds just like me, but it can't be me because I don't have a drug and alcohol problem. And the answer she gave me, I think it saved my life. She said, it's not about the drugs and alcohol. It's about your thinking. And the drugs and alcohol is a result of your thinking. And it clicked. Because I played victim the whole time. I was blaming the snitch. I was blaming my dad. I was blaming racism, the government, everybody. I said, you know what? Because I was saying, man, I'm a good kid. I've never been in trouble before. I was blaming everybody else. When I took responsibility for that and said, you know what? Even if it was a snitch involved or my dad, whatever, I could have told that cab driver no. And I took the power back. When you blame other people, you take the responsibility away from you. And you take the work away from you. You give the work to somebody else and you blame somebody else. So at that moment, I was like relieved. I'm like, I'll never come back to jail again because it's really up to me. Even if somebody set me up with a wire on, if I do the right thing, I'm not going to go to jail no more. So I finished my time. I came out and I actually went to this treatment. I went to this reentry program. It was called Prisoner Reentry Initiative. It was under a company called Cody, which is in Incarcerated City. I went there for them to help me get a job because I just got out. And they liked me so much, they hired me.
Wow.
So I'm just getting out of prison. It's guys I was just in prison with that I'm helping get jobs. I'm helping parole and probation officers get guys jobs. I'm taking these guys to get ID. Man, I was able to give back, and I was making pretty decent money just getting out of prison. So I used to go to parole and give a urine. The other parole officers are like, "Hey, Aaron, I need you to get my guy's job. You know, Aaron, it's 2 guys I need you to get a job for." So I got through parole with no problems, and then I moved to Egypt. But I hope I answered your question.
Oh yeah.
I don't want none of these kids out here or adults. I don't want anybody to feel like nobody cares about them, because somebody caring about you could be the difference between them killing themselves or not. Some people kill themselves just like in the back of their mind. It's like, maybe you'll listen now, or maybe you'll care now. And I feel like me and all of us, if we just let people know we care and listen to them, you could change the course of somebody's whole life. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, no, very well. I want to ask you about how catching that case and having that stigma on you, how that affected the rest of your life and opportunities in your life, like that thing being kind of held over people, you know, that you done one thing, made one mistake in your life, but now you can't get this, you can't do this because you made this one mistake.
Great question, man. Me having that job showed me that it's not impossible. When they sentence us behind the wall, they're actually giving, even if they give you a year or 2 years or whatever, they're still giving you life, because they get to discriminate against you legally for the rest of your life. And that job that I had, it let me see that I could stay out of jail and do the right thing. I can't be a guidance counselor like I wanted to be, and my football career is over, but I can take other avenues. One thing about having a record is every time I get comfortable and I think that it's past me, they come up.
Yeah.
They will not let it go. With the football coaching, man, that was what, 17 years ago when I committed the crime. And I coached all the other years, and then as soon as I'm a head coach, it comes up.
Yeah.
You know, so I can be an alcohol drug counselor. I got 8 kids. I coached all these other years, and now all of a sudden I'm a danger to the kids. Knowing that most people have, like, if you keep it real, have used drugs or sold drugs or something. So why you got this holier than thou attitude with folks, right? Even when you look at the addiction, a lot of folks was looking at like people who got high as pieces of crap.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't in their family, or it was just in the inner city or whatever. But then when their children started being affected by it, and their neighbors and their loved ones, now they want to give people help. They want to get them treatment, and it's a disease of the brain. Well, y'all wasn't doing that when it was just in one area.
Right.
So there's a lot of hypocrisy out there. And that's another reason why I want to run. Because, and I don't want to make it all about that, but like, I want to be involved in the decision-making process and represent for people who are usually left out, whether it's your race, whatever it is that people, you know, could discriminate against you about or leave you hanging about. I'm trying to represent and help you and let you know that you do have somebody that's that'll go to bat for you. But like I said, it comes up. Still can't own a gun. You can't get certain jobs. You know, Governor Murphy changed the law a couple years ago where they now expunge 3rd and 4th distribution charges. Before, they weren't doing any. My thing is, all nonviolent drug offenses should have a path to expungement. You're punishing somebody, because think about it. I'm not justifying it or nothing. People, the more weight that you have, and like it just shows that you have like better organizational skills or saving skills, or you like the energy that we put into doing negative.
Yeah.
If we was to put that in a positive, it would be awesome. So that same hustle and grit that a CEO has to build his company, a drug dealer does, is wrong. But if you're only expunging somebody who was nickeling and diming, right? You're pretty much punishing them for just being like
I
Joe
understand what you're
Schmo.
saying.
Not saying it's right,
I
and of
understand,
course the guy that's selling more weight harm more people. But my thing is, you're not giving me life in jail. It's not the death penalty for selling drugs. So if you gave me 5 years, let me do my 5 years, and then give me a path to get my life back. That's my point. Give me a path. So if you expunge 3rd and 4th degree CDS charges after 5 years, all right, somebody else had a little bit more weight. 2nd degree, make them wait 10 years. If somebody else had like a first degree one, make them wait 15 years. But don't tell me I can't never get my life back. And that's where the hopelessness and the despair and the efforts, that's where that creeps in at. Because he's like, man, they ain't never gonna give me no chance. They don't want me in their world.
Yeah.
And they're gonna go back to doing what they're doing. And it's so hypocritical, because the government, they fund programs to help people re-enter society, but y'all the same ones putting the barriers up too. So it's like they're getting paid on both sides. You're getting paid to lock us up, and now you got all these re-entry programs that's getting millions of dollars to help us get over those hurdles. But none of the money comes back to our community.
Great point. Yeah, and we talk about, we have discussions about how can we change our community. The local elections or the presidential elections. We're like, no, we need to attack smaller. We need to get into our local city council. We need to get into our school board. We need to really load what's going on within our community, and that's exactly what you're doing. And we commend you for that, brother, because we talk about we need our people to be in these local situations so that they can speak and have a voice for the voiceless out here, and that's us. So talk about the city council. Talk about you run for city council in Atlantic City and what you look to bring to the city of Atlantic City.
Well, city council men and women are supposed to advocate on the behalf of the people in your municipality or your ward. So again, it's folks suffering with the super high taxes in Atlantic City. The violence is off the hook in the city. We need more programming. But I think a lot of the violence comes from the hopelessness and the despair and the anger. The processing emotions is a skill. Yeah. And some people walking around with anger, they don't know how to get that anger off without fighting, busting a gun, arguing, sex, stealing, or doing risky behaviors. That's the way they get it out. So a lot of times with these programs and things of that nature, we're mopping up the water, but we're not sealing the pipe. It's causing the water to flood, the area. Yeah. So we gotta seal the pipe. And we have to deal with the underlying issues that cause the violence and things of that nature. You have a lot of girls who I want to start programs for children, boys and girls, and I have a fatherhood program. It's called I Am Mentoring and Counseling. I Am is the reason why I chose the word or the phrase I am is because that's the beginning of a very important answer to a very important question, which is who am I? Mm-hmm. I am. So I have that, but I want them to have someone to talk to, boys and girls. I want adults to have someone to talk to. So we need to figure out what's the problem that's making us harm each other and want to kill each other. Like I can't even look at you wrong. You gonna blow my head off for that?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, but there's a reason why. There's also a self-hate behind that also that we should try to get to the root of. There's a lot of things, just like in any community, that I would like to help reduce or try to create programs to make life for the citizens of Atlantic City better. And if you notice, if you follow me on Facebook or Instagram, I'm in Newark, I'm in Trenton, I'm in Camden, I'm in Bridgeton. I'm in a process of forming a national action network, which is like a NAACP branch. in Cumberland County. I have a passion for helping people, and I have a passion for helping and saving lives. So that's why I want to run.
Now, I'm going to talk about some of your bullet points on your campaign flyer. You said you want to create violence prevention leadership programs to address gang culture. Another one is improve senior quality of life, social activities, casino, adopt a senior building. Could you kind of just first start with the improve the quality of life, social activities, casino, adopt a senior building? Can you talk about that, and then we'll go to the other one?
Yeah, so I've been talking to folks in all the high rises. I actually been feeding, bringing trucks of food, trucks of bread, turkeys, things of that nature, going to the old folks' homes in Atlantic City. And I talk to people while I'm giving the food out, and they feel left out. They feel left out. They feel like these politicians get their vote. These politicians pull up with food and got cameras and all that stuff, but they really don't care about them. So I had an idea that it's a $1 billion casino industry in Atlantic City. I wanted to try to go to casinos and get each one to adopt an old folks home and make sure that they, you know what I mean, provide food or provide some type of gaming or bingo, whatever it is, to make sure that everything that these seniors need that they have, from recreation to food to lighting, whatever they need in their building, that these casinos would take pride in and represent or sponsor the different buildings.
Right. Now, this is a good one too. Advocate for the ACPD to responsibly utilize canines only for drug searches, locating missing people, explosives, and gathering crime scene evidence. Can you get into that one?
Yeah, so a lot of times the use of canines is pretty excessive. And from folks I've spoken to and from some data, it's really not needed except in those particular instances.
Okay.
Outside of those instances, it usually leads to some type of oppression,
Talk about how important it is to have that relationship with the ACPD. We're from the area, so obviously we know the relationship has been very flawed and very broken with the community and the police department out there. So talk about the importance of getting the community and the police department on the same page.
Okay, so we know it's many reasons why it's like that. One of them is racism. Another one would be a lot of the officers not being from our community, not knowing us. But the importance of it is the police have a hard job to do. And my uncle's a retired cop from Atlantic City, and I know many cops, and a lot of my coaches were cops. And I know a lot of the cops now. I went to school with them, and I've seen them around. They have a hard job to do, and they have a very important job to do.
Yeah.
So they need to get the trust of the citizens. The citizens need to be able to trust them and feel protected. They're supposed to be protecting and serving. And we want to actualize that in Atlantic City. We don't want anyone, a cop or not, to have a weapon, a deadly weapon, and be using it irresponsibly.
Right.
Especially with the cops, because a lot of times when they do it, and if they protect each other, they get off with it. Yeah. So it's like legal murder, and we want to stop that. We want to have a good relationship with our police. We want to support them, and that'll make the community better for the children, the seniors, and a lot of the trauma and grief. I think would stop. I think if the community had a better relationship with the police, the crime would stop.
Yeah.
It wouldn't stop, I'm sorry. It would decrease.
Absolutely.
And if they walked through the neighborhoods and rode bikes through the neighborhoods and got out their car and threw the ball with kids like they used to do with us and stuff, you know, people would think twice. It's like it's a cop right up there, or, you know, the police presence and everything would deter the crime. And then I think some of the criminals went to school with some of the cops. So I've seen the interaction with guys that I went to school with that's on both sides, and they see each other, and the cop will talk to them. I'm like, man, get yourself together, you know, get a job and things of that nature. So that's very important.
Now, how do we? You're not running for the mayor or anything, but I'm sure you got a good answer for this. How do we address the lack of economic opportunities for the citizens of Atlantic City, especially like the young black boys that come up and think they only can turn to the streets, you know, to make a living? What's your plan for that?
Well, one thing that I see is a lot of the money that's made in Lane City from the casinos and other industries doesn't stay in Lane City.
True.
Goes other places. We have to keep it in Atlantic City. I just seen it's a water park coming to Atlantic City.
Yeah.
They're getting 20 years of free taxes.
Man.
20 years of free taxes, right? So, of course, the politicians that co-sign it are going to say, well, it's going to provide jobs. Okay, you're saying that. You always say that. And it doesn't always equate to jobs. Is it written that, okay, 70 or 80% of these jobs are going to be for Atlantic City residents? That, to me, that's now you can hold somebody accountable.
Yeah.
You ain't just getting a press conference and say that because people are going to be like, yo, they not paying no taxes for 20 years? Oh, well, it's going to bring jobs. Okay. Is it in writing? And nobody's really pressing the leadership, asking them these questions and following up with them. They let them just say it, and then they're going about the business. So we have to I think it should be in writing that a certain percentage of jobs that from these casinos and other industries, major industries in Atlantic City, they need to have 70, 80% of their employees from Atlantic City with a decent living wage.
Very well put.
Indeed.
Now, how could people donate, to your campaign?
I have a fundraiser April 11th, 5 o'clock in Atlantic City at Kelsey's. Also, I have a Cash App. It's $elect Aaron Carrington. So it's $ELECT AARONCARRINGTON.
All right. We'll open the floor if you got anything else you want to tell the people and your social media handles and all that.
Yeah, so if I may, this whole journey that I'm on right now, it actually started from a dream that I had in about May. In May, I had a dream. It's a friend of mine is doing life in prison. And I had a dream I was visiting him in the visiting room. And, like, I was looking around and, like, I was uncomfortable and I woke up. And what I took from that was, you need to do something about your record. That's what I got from that. But second-degree drug distribution charges aren't expungable in New Jersey. So I made some phone calls. I Googled some things. And the only thing that I came up with was I would need a governor's pardon. So I reached out to some folks, and I wound up speaking to some folks that are in the governor's cabinet. And I wound up telling them my story. They were all behind me, and I put a packet together to present to the governor to see if he would pardon my record.
Right.
Now, when I got my file from my lawyer to help me prepare my pardon packet, I got my evidence from my file from when I was going to court in 2004 and 2005. The reason why I didn't get probation is because my public defender didn't hand the application in for the probation till the night before at like 7:30 in the evening.
Yeah.
So in my file, the prosecutor says that my public defender put an unnecessary burden on the court system, and therefore they were going to deny my probation application. I never knew all these years that's what happened because I was like, man, whatever happened. I just got to move on, and I didn't even try to fight it.
Right.
But I finally got my file. I got stuff written on my file where it said I worked at a school and I had a degree. I was working part-time at a school while I was out on bail. And somebody wrote how comforting on my paperwork. So you're judging me before you don't even know me.
Right.
So that's why I didn't get the probation, and I believed I was overcharged. So I actually am working on that right now. And I wound up meeting people in Newark and Trenton and Camden and other places that are involved in politics. And I was helping them with some things going on in North Jersey and Central New Jersey, South Jersey. And they was like, why don't you do something in your area? And it all started from a dream. So once that happened, I started talking to my family and talking to other people. And they was like, man, you should have been doing this. We need people like you in there. So
definitely.
That's how I really got involved with it. I never voted in my life till this last election because I felt like it was a waste of time because they always lying to us. I could change that, though, by getting involved with the process. That's why I'm running. So I have very good intentions. I want to help Atlantic City. I want to help the people of Atlantic City. And specifically with being an Atlantic City councilman, and I'm going to use that position to help people as far as I can help them. So
Definitely.
I'm on Facebook as Aaron Carrington, and Instagram is Mr. Aaron or Brother Harun, Mr. Aaron _ Brother Harun. I'd like to thank you brothers again for the opportunity.
Anytime, brother. Appreciate you.
I mean, I was coaching football with you, and I didn't even know you had this platform. Very, very humble brothers, both of them. Very humble brothers. I appreciate y'all, man. I love y'all, and I wish y'all the best. And I really appreciate the opportunity to be on this platform.
We need brothers like you in positions that you're going for, man. It's important. It's vital. And we thank you for your service. Drop that cash out one more time for him, brother.
$ elect, ELECT, Aaron Carrington, AARONCARRINGTON.
Make sure y'all donate right now to that, man.
Indeed. City of Atlantic City, you already know. Let's go. Hip Hop Uncensored Podcast, Sandman, Viral Hip Hop News. Oh, God, Hip Hop News Uncensored. We're the Hip Hop Uncensored Podcast. Shout out to our special guest, Aaron, on this podcast, delivering gems for the people of South Jersey and beyond. We are out. Peace.